The dynamics within a particular ecosystem are led by something which is called energy flow. It's normally represented in a food pyramid. However, this is complicated by nutrient recycling and decomposition, along with a host of other minor factors. It might take too long to go through them all. So let's start with the pyramid part of the energy flow. The vast majority of ecosystems, the sun is the primary source of energy. That energy then drives all the other living organisms in the ecosystem, either directly or indirectly. The most direct method, of course, is via photosynthesis in the chlorophyll, mainly in the leaves of plants. Most of the energy that reaches our planet, though, isn't actually used by plants. Some goes into heating the earth, some is radiated back into space. However, this principle of inefficiency and appreciation that all the energy that is potentially available may be lost, used, converted, diverted in an ecosystem is important in understanding the energy flow within an ecosystem. The energy is then absorbed by the plants, can then be used for a great many purposes, including things like water and chemical transfer, respiration, tracking the path of the sun, even producing hormones. However, a high proportion of the energy is used for actually growing the plant. This can be things like leaves, branches, roots, flowers and seeds. And all of these may in turn be ended up by being eaten by herbivores or plant-eating animals. Herbivores, of course, are even more energy inefficient than the plants, since some energy is used in the digestion process, movement, respiration, and even keeping the animal warm. However, again, a proportion of the energy consumed goes into growing the animal. The herbivores, again, are likely to end up being eaten by a carnivore or a meat-eating animal. Carnivores spend even more of their time moving to hunt down their prey, as well as the other processes that herbivores also require to sustain themselves, again, all using up energy. And there's a three-step process from plant to herbivore to carnivore. So also the simplest chain of events that most animals will actually end up eating a variety of food, but they may actually specialize in a specific type. This basic chain doesn't even include things like omnivores like us. However, you could have things like pine trees, which are partially eaten by small insects, which are consumed by spiders, which are eaten by woodpeckers, which in turn is being eaten by hawks. Much longer chain. This energy flow means at each stage of the process there's less of the original energy from the sun, which is available for each successive step in the food pyramid, which is why as you go up the food pyramid there are fewer and fewer animals on each layer. This is true not in just the pure number of animals, but also when you look at the combined mass of the animals and plants in a given area, what's referred to as the biomass. This means that the apex predator sitting at the top of the pyramid, like the hawk in the early example, are going to represent a tiny proportion of the biomass. But because of their role as a keystone species, anything that affects them will have a radical change on the ecosystem. That's our next video. There are also some common living organisms which don't neatly fit into the food pyramid model. These are ones which recycle the nutrients in the system by decomposing dead material and recycle it, turning it back into something useful that the ecosystem can use. This can be things like bacteria, fungi, worms, even vultures. All these, to various extent, take useful nutrients from decaying leaves and animals that can be put back into the system. For example, the decaying leaves of trees can be broken down by the action of bacteria and worms, feeding those nutrients back into the soil that can be used again by the very trees they came from in the first place. This added level of complexity, along with the other complex interrelations from the food producers like plants, all the way up to the eventual apex predators, means that some ecologists prefer to look at its ecosystem as a food web, rather than the more simplified version of a food pyramid. So that's an ecosystem and how the energy flows within it.